Hi, this is Ashima, and you're watching Tackling AI Anxiety with Ashima. We are talking about a watershed moment in cybersecurity, a new model released by Anthropic called Claude Mythos. And this model is being called a reckoning of cybersecurity because it changes the way we looked at cybersecurity. This AI model is meant to be a super AGI based code writing tool. Now, what this model really wasn't meant to do was finding cybersecurity flaws. But what it ended up doing, being so good at writing code, is it is able to find any vulnerabilities in software applications, in web browsers, even in memory safe virtual machine monitors, VMMs. It is able to find thousands of cybersecurity related flaws and weaknesses within just a few hours. And this model is now being released only to a few companies, a chosen few companies, through a project called Project Glasswing, named after the glasswing butterfly that hides in plain sight by making its wings transparent. So this is a very cool thing that to learn about at this moment, because we are finding on April 7th, 2026, this new model was released. However, it is so powerful that it wasn't released to general public. And why it wasn't released is that this model found in web browsers like Firefox vulnerabilities that were never found by humans. These vulnerabilities weren't just found, but it were also exploited by this model. So within test environments, this model has found these weaknesses and flaws and been able to exploit them, which other previous models like, for example, Opus 4.6, which was Claude's previous model, was not able to do. In fact, it wasn't even able to find these vulnerabilities. They're called zero-day vulnerabilities. And why they're called that is that nobody has found them before. So this model is opening doors that humans didn't even know existed. And one of the very key bugs that it has recently found is a OpenBSD bug, which was a 27-year-old flaw or bug. And this wasn't found by any human so far. OpenBSD is used in many firewalls and cybersecurity applications. And finding this bug has really led to us questioning how this model can be extremely powerful. So Anthropic is doing the right thing and releasing it only to certain companies right now as a way to be more defensive about cybersecurity, be able to patch those flaws and vulnerabilities before any of this type of model gets in the hands of bad actors. So that said, yes, there are many things that you should read about on this model. Number one, what I have found is there are certain things that within testing that the researcher found is this model is capable of not only finding vulnerabilities, because typically when you find one flaw, you can only use that one endpoint to access. However, it was able to, it showed the ability to identify, then chain together these vulnerabilities in order to exploit the endpoint access. And these endpoints that it was able to exploit, it gave it complete root access. So this model is doing things at an exponentially higher level that could create real havoc if it is in the hands of bad actors. So when we look at some of the ways that we're seeing the world right now, this could lead to an extensive amount of damage, right? If it is being used for bad purposes. Now, if you look at this model, there are some good things that come with this. The power that this model is bringing, not only can it exploit systems, but it can also fix them. It can find vulnerabilities, but it can patch them faster too. So this Firefox vulnerability that was found, Anthropic recently released a patch for that to them as well. So this is how we can see some of this in a more positive light, is that this model doesn't just do damage. It can do damage if used by bad actors, but it can do so many things that we can now stress test proactively our systems and make sure that we are defending really well. So what are we here to do? The right response to this type of news or information, first of all, having awareness is the most important thing. The right response is not panic. The right response is awareness. So read about it, learn more about this model, and see where this is going so that we can be well prepared, our companies can be well prepared for it as well. And what it means for everyday professionals for us today is that we know that cybersecurity is way more real than we have ever seen it before. With AI, the capabilities to be able to get into the grids, the water supplies, the systems, the software applications will become so much easier. So it is so important and critical that we pay enough attention to finding these gaps and making sure that we are patching things the right way, we are coding the right way, we are using security and spending time and effort and investment on security in the right way. So understanding AI risk is extremely important and not ignoring it. So this podcast here is to make you aware. Go read and educate yourself on this model called Claude Mythos. And every major technological leap, as you know, does come with its own risks, but we can win if we don't panic. We can win if we are in the right place of mind and we are ready for it. We are aware, we know where it's going. And I will say that Claude Mythos isn't scary because it's uncontrollable. It's scary because it's powerful, and power raises the stakes for everyone. So are you ready to raise the bar? I know I am. Let's raise it together.